Hello, Sonofthebong here today with another Balisong Talk. Today I'll be talking about and comparing the flippability of what I like to call the competitive flippers of the 40X series of Benchmade. 42, 47, 43, 43, that's right. These are the most popular of the 40X, obviously the 42 being the main, the most popular one. Main difference obviously is the blade shape and weight distribution on the blade. These are 3 spring latches, 154 cm, 154 cm, 440C. This one has been modded by Prometheus with a sweet anno job. The outside or the inside of the handles, so the inside of the handles are blue and the outside are purple. It is actually a sweet job by another flipper, Prometheus. 3 awesome knives. I'm personally a big fan of the 40X series, or the 42 per se, because I've been flipping this knife. It's been my main flipper for 4 years. I recently, well, not recently, last year acquired the Production Alpha Beast, which have been also a main flipper of mine. These 3 knives flip fairly similarly with slight differences, mainly being the blade heaviness and how biased, or not biased, but how it affects the flipping. The 42, the spine ends a third of the way up of the blade. The 47 ends, I don't know, roughly 7/8 maybe way up the blade, and the 43 ends halfway. Now this might not be a big difference to a user, but to a flipper it really does affect the flippability. The 47 being the most blade heavy, I found it really does affect the character of the flip. Some tricks are slower, twirling is slower. I found it bouncy, but the blade carries a lot of momentum. So when let's say you're doing a trick like a ricochet, I find it does bounce back a lot quicker than the other knives. I find you do notice the blade, like the 42. There's not very much steel on the blade at all. I find when you flip it, you don't really notice that. When I flip it, I don't notice the blade is there. Obviously, when I flip, I need the blade, but I don't find I feel the weight of the blade when I'm doing rollovers. It feels like it's just handles. The 47, I really do notice the blade. So tricks like rollovers and stuff, they're not harder, they're just different in the ways where I find my center of gravity is more to compensate for the blade, for that much more blade up at the tip of the blade. I find I flip more at the bottom of the handles. Like when I do my rollovers and with my 42 and my scissoring, I keep it right close to the pivots, as close as I can, and which makes for a really quick, precise flip. I find with the 47, automatically, without trying, I flip more towards, like, less close to the pivots, and not that that's not as good, but I'm not as precise, I'm not as fast, I'm not as accurate in my tricks. Aerials, they're a little slower. Now I'm saying all these things, but it's only slightly different. You know, if you were to compare the 42 with the Production Alpha Beast, let's say, then those are huge differences in weight distributions and stuff like that. These are very slight, but as an advanced flipper, these things I've really noticed. 43 with the blade, with the spine ending at the end, at the middle of the blade, really makes for it creates the illusion of being balanced. Rollovers are really are almost as quick as the 42. If I would have to compare it, I'd have to say it's slightly slower. But for a lesser experienced flipper, it might create the illusion that it's more balanced. But there's nothing really that makes it more balanced than the 42, other than a little bit of more metal in the blade, which could create an illusion. To me, it's an illusion because the 40 series has a more, like 42 especially, has a very even balance across the board. There's no more weight here, there's no more weight there. It feels like the center of gravity is right there. And the 42 or the 40X is a bit not so much in the middle, maybe more like here, and the 43 be more like here. When I say like this, is because, you know, the center would be right here for the 42, and the 43 is more like right here, and the 47 right there. Anyways, I'm rambling. Very similar knives to flip. Love flipping them all. You've seen flipping. I won't be putting flipping footage. I put up enough flipping footage with all these three knives for you to be content. Other than that, again, thanks for Droopdog and Sonofthebong for lending me these knives. I've been it definitely confirmed my suspicion that the 43 is better than the 42. As in, I don't think it's better. I think it's just a preference. Like I was saying to the guys on Balisong Techniques, I find every person may have a different opinion on which knife flips better, because it's a matter of preference. It really does. Someone that likes a slower flip, that likes doing transfers, will probably prefer the 47 over the 42, because it does have more weight. It does flip a little slower. 43 really scissors well, I find. That little bit of extra weight really helps. Not really. Helps slightly more carrying that spinning momentum. 42, still I prefer flipping the 42. I flip the 42 better than the other two, but that again could be for the reason that I'm extremely used to flipping this knife. I like to compare choosing which knife I want to flip by choosing, let's say, a video game character. Let's say you're playing, I don't know, Mortal Kombat. You always have the one guy that you always go to, your go-to guy, because he's the best, or whatever, you think that he's the best. Now, you can go on debates with other people on saying who's the best, and everyone's going to have their opinion, but to me, this is my Liu Kang, right? To me, I always use Liu Kang. He was my guy. This is my go-to flipper. And so that pretty much sums it up. Very similar, just different blade shapes and weight distribution on the blade. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. Sorry for hogging these knives for so long, guys, but I'll be sending these out as soon as possible. I've had these in my possession for too long, so probably sometime next week. And so thanks again. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments and questions below, and I'll put a link to these flippers channel. Also, I'll put the link to Bolethius's channel if anyone wants to do some anno work. Thanks again. See you guys next time.